Leroy, so you just closed a funky VA loan, right? And your first attempt failed, and things were getting crazy. The realtors were screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
Let me kind of frame this as I understand it, then you come tell us what you did. So, active duty service member had orders to Virginia from Nevada. She already up and left and was living over there. Spouse was left behind in Nevada in a kind of a high, security clearance kind of job. We won't say what he did or where he worked, but he was in Nevada and he didn't have a job letter in Virginia, right? Correct? He didn't have anything lined up that was solid, rock solid. And the
Right.
underwriter refused to use his income because she got wind of the fact that his intent was to up and leave as soon as he got a job in Virginia to join his spouse, right? Which is nothing weird
Right.
about that. It's fraudulent about that. So she wouldn't give him any income at all for his job in Nevada, and she wouldn't consider anything in Virginia for him, right? Is that correct? The way it was?
Yeah, and it's really wild when you think of it. And I used this example before, right? You can't have a teacher that's just going to up and go in the middle of her class, like through the year, right? So the same thing when you have a high level security job and you're put in a position. Well, hey, we got to use this income or job offer, and it had multiple job offer letters. He just said, "Look, it's not what I want right now. I'm in a great position where we're at, so." I'm going to keep my income and I'm not going to be pressured to go into something that doesn't hit my qualifications until I find what I have. So we consider it's a trailing spouse, right? So yeah, underwriter was like, no, we're not going to, not only we're not going to use his job offer letter should he choose to take and sign it, because he's got to sign it still, right? But we're now not going to count his income that he's been at the job for 10 years.
And he hadn't terminated that job. He hadn't given notice
No.
in or anything like that. And the employee knew that he was going to up and leave if and when he found a job in Virginia, right? That was a thing,
Mhm. He had
right?
glowing recommendation letters of, if you were to choose, to move on to follow your wife of 20 something years, and so she could finish out her retirement, you know, absolutely. Anything you want, whatever. We'd rather see you stay, but we also know it's important to be with your loved one, right?
So
So
here's the thing:
yeah, it was
some
crazy.
some battles with underwriters we win, some we don't win. But the beautiful thing about what you did was when you realized we're not going to win this battle, they're set in their ways. You pivoted and went another direction to get it done. Tell us about that process.
Pivoted quickly. So we pivoted before we pivoted, and really what it came back to is the underwriter underwriting with their own authority, in or are they almost
To their
pigeonholing
own
and saying, hey, like when we read the 26-7, right, the lender's handbook, it says, okay, yeah, we trust the underwriter, but what does the underwriter worry about? The VA wants the veteran to win. They want them to be in a home. So what's their problem, when they're saying, hey, look at this situation differently. The veteran can
Yeah.
afford the property. They've been in positions of, not only a military spouse for 20 plus years, Charles, and then also a veteran who's been in a high security job for 20 plus years. Like, we're talking about, it doesn't get any better than this, right? We're not talking about
Stability.
low
You got stability.
FICOs. We're talking about an approved eligible loan. And so that's where it was like, okay, we saw this, and what it was kind of just not being, when the underwriter's not being open minded. Yeah, I'm out. Let's switch it. Let's move it, because we have enough underwriter. That's what I love about being a broker. We can see it. We know it. Obviously, when you do a lot of VA loans, you get to see how that's going to work. But we trusted one that was, really well in price, but we had options also really well in price, but a little bit more of, hey, let's underwrite this VA loan the way it's meant to be. So I'm
I
glad
think
we
the bottom
pivoted quickly.
line in closing is that you found someone that was flexible in their thinking. And to me, it's common sense. I mean, you can't take someone that's got solid, stable income and all of a sudden take all that income away and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to treat you as having no income, even though any second. Here's the thing, he was never going to put himself in a position where he didn't have income, right? If he
Right.
didn't land a job in Virginia, right, and it was a start date and all of that, then he was never going to leave the Nevada job. So he's always going to have income. And the underwriter didn't see it that way.
No. No, and especially when you have long history of income like that, that should be no. I call it no brainer. You call it common sense, or not so common sense to look at. But I think the biggest thing is, just not being open minded. And I mean, there's a couple other things that you and I chatted about on that call with
Sure.
them. But
Yeah.
it's, are they going to pick up the call? And so I think it's the biggest thing is, in this situation, the veteran got their home. He's going to move in this transition at some point when it makes sense and when he goes and gets exactly what he has. So yeah, and it's incredibly grateful we have amazing partners, and we have several, and it's not just one, right? So several
Mhm.
that are like, wow, yeah, you guys know your stuff. Like, yep, I could totally see it that way, and you know what, the VA would see it that way too. So
If you could be accused of anything, Leroy, it would be of not leaving any stone unturned in finding ways to get it done. Kudos to you. Congratulations to your veterans. And thank you for your service. And in closing, I mean, we're putting your contact information on the screen. You ready to handle some more VA deals?
absolutely, if there, I mean, I love to help everybody, right? But in just like, and this is why I work with you, is that I love to help everybody do all those loans, right? But when it comes to veterans, like, it's my people. That's what I love to do. I love to help veterans navigate. Doesn't matter if they have great credit. Doesn't matter if they have bad credit. It's getting them to use their VA home loan benefit. That's what's the most important thing for me.
Kudos to you, man. Enjoy your day and appreciate your time. Thank you.